Islam Makhachev is returning. He is the reigning, defending welterweight champion. He was the only man to defend the lightweight strap 4 times, potentially the greatest fighter that this sport has ever seen. He is returning, of course, as we know, against the very cocky, loud, brash, but very successful 17-1 contender Ian Garry. Now, Ian Garry, he's never backwards in coming forwards, unless it's in the fight, because he will go backwards and he will dance around. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But Ian Garry's very cocky. He believes in himself, and you might find that annoying and a little bit frustrating, okay? But he's a fighter. You're supposed to believe in yourself.
He's never fought someone as long and tall as me. He's not fought someone as fast as me. He's not fought someone who has the distance management, the boxing capabilities, the head movement that I did, but also the takedown defense. He might get me down. I hope he does, because I want to prove to the world that he can submit me. I don't care if he's an internationally recognized master of Sambo or not. I'm going to bounce him on his skull. I'm going to take his title. I'm going to take his throne, and I'm going to finish that consecutive win streak. And I'll always be the guy that stopped history from happening.
And I'm telling you right now, this fight for Islam Makhachev may be a lot harder than what people think. Given all of the accolades that Islam Makhachev has, it's easy to just dismiss Ian Garry and say, listen, he's got to just run right through him. Okay, you could send him to Dagestan or Georgia for 20 years and still forget all about it.
Send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
Okay, because Islam Makhachev is the GOAT. He's going to take him down. The man's Irish. They don't wrestle in Ireland, for crying out loud. Well, guess what? He's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's 17-1. He had a very, very close fight with
Michael Bisping has never been afraid to speak his mind. And when the conversation turned to a potential showdown between UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev and welterweight contender Ian Garry, the former middleweight champion made one thing very clear.
As you guys know, Ian Garry is a very, very confident kid. I mean, I remember when I first met him, we were in New York City, and he was about to fight on a pay-per-view at the time. And we did his fighter meeting. He came in with his family, and he literally sat on the table, in the middle of the table, as we did the fighter meeting. So you got me, Megan Oliva, John Anik, Zach Canzito, Michael LaPlante, all the producers, and Ian Garry's just literally sitting on the table in the middle of all of us, and he's talking. Now, a fighter meeting is supposed to be 15 minutes. Ian Garry was probably in there for about 35 minutes telling us all the things that he was going to do in his fight when he got into the octagon in Madison Square Garden. You left there, one, going, man, that meeting was much longer than it was supposed to, but also impressed by the kid and his confidence and his belief in himself.
Anyone calling this an easy fight for Islam is underestimating just how dangerous Garry has become. According to Bisping, Makhachev deserves to be considered one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters in the world today.
He's polarizing. He talks a lot of crap, okay? He does. And do you know what? I've grown to really like this guy because he backs it up in the octagon. He talks a lot of trash, okay? But he backs it up and he dances around the octagon. He's got beautiful footwork. He's got good power. He's got excellent striking. Takedown defense was perfect. And he gave Shavkat a good run as well. And then if you didn't see on the microphone doing the post-fight interview, he cut an incredible promo for why he should be next to face Islam Makhachev. Ian Garry beating a former champion in Bilal Muhammad, and with the promo that he did and the way he hypes it up and the way that he talks about Khabib versus Conor being the biggest fight of all time, and this is kind of like the next generation of that, I kind of get his point. And as I said, the promo on the mic, the way he called out Islam was phenomenal. He said, you got to fight the best people on the planet.
His dominance over elite competition, incredible grappling pedigree, and rapidly improving striking have made him look almost untouchable. But Bisping believes MMA history is filled with moments where seemingly unbeatable champions were shocked by opponents everyone overlooked.
You look at Khabib, and Khabib was just dominant at grappling. Islam's the exact same. Probably more clean when it comes to his grappling. Not the same dog pressure that Khabib has. And when you look at Islam on the feet, I mean, dude, he can crack. So I think he makes the welterweight division even more fun. And it would and I have nothing but respect for the man. But I'm someone who wants to test myself against the best in the world, and I would love to test myself against them.
And Ian Machado Garry has the kind of style that could create unexpected problems. Bisping explained that Garry isn't simply another striker with flashy kicks and confidence. He has developed into one of the smartest tactical fighters in the UFC, showing patience, composure, and a willingness to fight intelligently rather than emotionally. Those qualities, Bisping argued, make him far more dangerous than many fans realize.
That's the worst case scenario. Being held down for 25 minutes and just having a boring fight. He's a phenomenal wrestler, a phenomenal grappler. He can suffocate you and just lie on you like a weighted blanket, and you just find it so hard to move. And he did that to win the world title fight. And I feel like that's definitely not fun for anyone watching. It's not going to happen.
Islam has dismantled world champions like Charles Oliveira, dominated Alexander Volkanovski, and consistently neutralized elite-level opponents with relentless pressure and suffocating wrestling. Naturally, he would enter the fight as a heavy favorite, and Bisping acknowledged that reality. However, he also pointed out that moving up to welterweight introduces a completely different challenge. The strength, size, and physicality of the division cannot be ignored, especially when facing someone like Garry, who has spent his entire UFC career competing against naturally bigger athletes. Bisping highlighted Garry's movement as one of the biggest factors in the matchup. Unlike many fighters who stand their ground and eventually get trapped against the fence by Makhachev's pressure, Garry constantly changes angles, switches stances, and maintains distance with intelligent footwork.
For Makhachev, for sure. I think he's just going to take him down and dictate his pace and put the fight where he wants to fight. He's too strong for that little twig, you know, that little cuck that sits in the corner and watches his wife get dogged out by the new.
Bisping believes this movement could force Islam into longer striking exchanges than he normally prefers. Every extra second spent on the feet gives Garry another opportunity to land precise combinations, sharp counters, or damaging head kicks. Bisping stressed that Garry doesn't waste punches chasing knockouts. Instead, he builds his offense methodically, scoring points while frustrating opponents into making mistakes.
I'm worried for Islam Makhachev. Ian Garry's height alone is going to take away two of Islam's main tools. Clinch, trying to tie clinch striking exchanges. The second tool is Islam. It worked against Volkanovski, but will it work against and more mobile? Even Volk caught him while he was moving back. I think Islam is going to have to rely on his grappling more than ever. And Ian Garry has fantastic takedown defense.
Against someone as disciplined as Islam, that patience could become one of Garry's greatest weapons. Still, Bisping reminded fans that Makhachev has evolved dramatically under the guidance of coach Javier Mendez and the influence of Khabib Nurmagomedov. The version of Islam competing today is no longer just a dominant grappler. His striking has become cleaner, more technical, and significantly more dangerous. His timing on counters, body kicks, and straight left hands continues to improve with every performance. Bisping noted that anyone expecting Garry to simply outbox Islam over 5 rounds may be ignoring how complete Makhachev has become. The wrestling battle, of course, remains the biggest talking point. Bisping explained that almost every opponent enters the cage believing they can defend Islam's takedowns until they actually feel the pressure. Once Makhachev secures a body lock or drags opponents toward the fence, his chain wrestling becomes incredibly difficult to escape. Bisping compared it to trying to stop a wave after it's already crashing over you. One successful takedown often turns into several minutes of exhausting control, forcing opponents to defend submissions while carrying Islam's weight. However, Bisping also praised Garry for the improvements he has shown in his defensive grappling throughout recent fights. Training with elite wrestlers and submission specialists has made Garry much harder to control than earlier in his career. While he may not possess Islam's world-class grappling credentials, Bisping believes Garry's awareness, scrambling ability, and commitment to returning to his feet could prevent Makhachev from dominating every grappling exchange. Another point Bisping emphasized was the mental side of championship fighting. Islam has repeatedly demonstrated ice-cold composure under enormous pressure. Whether facing hostile crowds, championship expectations, or dangerous opponents, Makhachev rarely appears emotionally affected. That calmness allows him to stick to his game plan without taking unnecessary risks. But Bisping argued that Ian Machado Garry shares a similar mindset. Despite criticism from fans and constant media attention, Garry has continued winning while refusing to let outside opinions distract him. Bisping believes confidence is one of Garry's greatest strengths. Rather than fearing Islam's reputation, Garry would likely embrace the opportunity to shock the world.